Welcome back to the SMITE Minor League, everybody. Aggro joined by Taco here as we get ready to break down and preview our last set of the day. And it should be a close one, Taco, because both Exilium and Cryptik have struggled so far this phase.
Definitely had their own fair share of problems trying to find even grounds, but this could be the foothold that both of these teams are looking for to start trying to climb their way up those standings.
It's a great point, especially for Exilium, who has made a couple changes. Had Hathi in the mid lane there. He is now gone. Bayroneri stepping in his shoes. Wheels, the old ADC, going to the sub position to make room for DayToRemeber. Day in particular, a long time sort of minor league level player who's had his opportunities. It just has always looked like one of the better minor league caliber ADCs, but it's been a bit since we've seen him.
Pretty much since the Oxygen Supremacy days was probably the last time that we really had any significant note of DayToRemeber, and well, whether or not he's going to look to shift things around a little bit here in the minor league, only time will tell.
Hey, Jingwei's still good, so DayToRemeber, he's in a good spot. Loves his Jingwei, of course, if memory serves, of course. Look, this team, really on both sides, have had a lot of things to work on. We'll see if this new roster, in particular for Exilium, will get the job done as we are ready for picks and bans for game number 1. Cryptik also not strangers to making a lot of roster changes. They feel like they have one every other week.
For sure, and not only that, but I think that Cryptik's a little bit of a wild card here up against Exilium. I think the one thing that I can say with confidence that this Exilium roster has had is a little bit of organization, at least within their drafting, and I can't really say that the same is afforded to Cryptik, but I'm definitely excited to see what kind of wackiness they choose to bring out today.
So Isis ban right away, that's pretty standard from what we see for a lot of these teams. Thor banned by Exilium, Set taken away here by Cryptik. And if you're in Cryptik's shoes, I mean, are you trying to immediately ban out mid laners and keep Bayroneri off of some of his picks? It's a guy we've seen a lot in high-level ranked as of late, but otherwise, this is his first foray into the competitive scene as far as I'm aware.
I think that it's fair to try and take a little bit of a target focus in terms of bans away from Bayron, but as far as competitive background is concerned, I mean, this guy is kind of an open slate. There's really nothing to give much insight other than what we have seen out of him in high-level rank, so you can have some assumptions if you're on Cryptik, but I think it might just be better suited for the team to kind of just try and play off their own strengths, which I think could also happen to be through that mid lane.
Could be. So Ares taken away, as well as Jean Queen AMC. That leaves first pick Horus here for Cryptik. No Merlin or Chronos first pick. AMC taken away, that's another one that we've seen quite a bit of today. But going with an option that can really bolster your 3v3 in mid, and I think that's where a lot of these teams are starting to focus, is how well you will be able to take those 3v3s. Because you can find plenty of characters that do really well with a ton of farm in solo or in the long lane. It's really about getting a fight that works for you into the mid lane. And
speaking of those team fights, well, looks as though Exilium wants to take their chances with this Jeb. And the Anhur to follow suit. Anhur has definitely been a flavor pick of Season 6 so far in terms of that mid lane prowess that he provides, because he's got really decent buff secure, also a lot of invade potential as soon as he hits level 5 because of the Desert Fury. And even before then, Impale is still one of the better abilities, I think, at just looking for all that early game aggression.
So Thoth locked in here for Cryptik, a god that we haven't seen a whole lot of here quite yet, but it's starting to creep into the ranked scene, Taco. I'm sure you've been playing against a lot of Thoth, as have I, and just one of those gods that you go, oh yeah, he does that. You know, long range damage, insane poke potential, final judgment, still does a good chunk of your health as well.
And I think part of the reason why Cryptik can afford to take this Thoth so early on is because of the fact that they already see a Geb on the enemy team. And that automatically, I think, opens the doorway for some of these late game carry type picks like the Thoth to come into action a little bit sooner, because you just don't have to worry as much about that pressure.
No surprise then DayToRemeber has returned to competitive Smite. Jingwei gets picked up pretty early on. This is exactly what I was expecting. You want him on a comfort pick, right? A god that he knows very well, and it's just like riding a bike. Hop on, play Jingwei, sit under your tower, and then power farm for late game.
It's the same mentality that ran him through a pretty long going circuit over there in Oxygen Supremacy. So
no doubt,
if he's looking to try and have a repeat performance from back then, now Jingwei's definitely a good place to start. Plus, Jingwei's just a smart pickup, I think, against the Hou Yi. Even if he manages to get that Mark of the Crow off and looks for that dive bomb initiation, she can just agility away, no problem. Airstrike as well. It's not going to be easy for Cryptik to try and lock down this Hunter.
Could be a little bit more difficult if that's Thoth in the long lane, though, right? I mean, she doesn't clear particularly well. Thoth can keep her at a distance and poke her out, and has the distance to chase after that long-range agility.
Yeah, the poke is definitely something to keep in the back of the minds. I think even if it's an Anhur in that Thoth mid lane matchup, I still don't believe that is entirely going to favor the Anhur in that early game nearly as much when Thoth has so much range to play off of. I think that mages like Thoth, Poseidon, Vulcan tend to be guys that give a little bit more woes to Anhur in that early game.
Fair enough, as Ravana and Osiris taken away here by Exilium. Cryptik take away the Jormungandr and still have one more band to go. You imagine this will be pointed at either jungle or the solo lane at this point. No Erlang Shen ban quite yet, and that's the first thing that I'm looking for, because that's a character that can play solo potentially, but really is more of a jungler than anything.
It is kind of interesting, though, to see in the minor league the differences, I guess, between pro level play and minor level play, where you do tend to see the carries kind of solidified first in comparison to SPL, where they usually go for the jungler, support, solo laners, because those picks tend to have a little bit more flexibility, and you usually want your carries to have some survivability options, even if they aren't Jing Wei.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. A lot of times you see these SPL level teams really focus on getting their frontliners first. You can get damage from a lot of spaces, right?
Yes.
But these top tier gods, it is locking you down or protecting your back line, are usually a bit harder to come by.
And I think that this is, well, at least from Exilium's stance on things, they just had a couple of really recent roster shifts and in some pretty crucial roles at the same time, because mid lane is certainly a role that is not very easy to just jump right into, especially at the minor league and above level of competition. But this Cabrakan now is a really strong switch up, I think, from where Exilium's composition was initially headed. I think it's going to introduce some of that magical damage that Exilium was definitely missing out on, and it's just going to provide a great avenue of cut off for this Thoth. And even though Yi can't really be safe with the dive bomb, you still can't get away if the Cabrakan manages to slow you first.
Guan Yu couldn't even have trouble. It takes him a while to get on the horse and kind of navigate his way around the roadblock. Guan Yu, Hun, Batz round out the draft here for Cryptik. I agree. I love this Cabrakan pick. It also brings some much-needed magical damage to this composition. On her Jing Wei, obviously that's a lot of physical auto attack damage. You want something in that magical department to make Cryptik at least think about itemizing against you. Cabrakan's been played a lot on the SPL level recently. Sam for Soccer in particular has loved it. So I like this idea, but it's not in the jungle. It doesn't look like. As Awilix gets locked in, that one, it just kind of catches me by surprise. I really thought that Cabrakan was going to be in the jungle.
I'm a big fan, though, if it is Awilix in that jungle role instead, just because Awilix can have a much easier time harassing that Yi especially, and the Humbots. Gravity Surge can definitely shut down some of that early game initiation, because oftentimes we see players in competitive, despite having the Ja or the Humbots, they don't want to take Blink as that first relic because they're concerned about getting turned and burned if they do screw up that initiation early.
Plus, you've got knockups from Geb and Anhur, so it's not just for those two characters that have the leaps. Thoth can end up getting pulled pretty easily if hit by either of those abilities. Plus, don't forget Horus, his third ability, Protector Surge, that is a leap, and you can pull it.
But I think I would have to favor Cryptik as far as the super late game is concerned.
We'll have to see if it pans out for either of these squads. Both teams trying to rebound and get set on the right foot here in the second half of Phase 2. Let's over to the casters for Game 1.
Right foot, left foot. Everybody putting their feet front and together and jumping on in. Exilium versus Cryptik, the battle of the bottom. And we hear right away the shots of the hunters. Tom and Tully on the commentary, Doug on the observation. And right there, Diesel and Bayo right in the mid lane on our carries. And our hunter lane, MandoWarrior, and the return, DayToRemeber. Welcome back, my man. 2 eyes, 1 location. How you doing, buddy?
I love it. I love to see him back in the mix. Obviously playing his staple Jing Wei. If it's not DayToRemeber, it's just not Jing Wei, or vice versa. So we'll see how MandoWarrior stacks up to it. I'm sure that since his return to the minor league, he's been practicing quite a bit and heavily in the ranked scene. So he should be a little bit familiar with this matchup.
Big fan. Big fan. We love our emo boys here. Certainly an emo boy there. Jokes aside, DayToRemeber, if you're newer to the scene, has been around. We heard the discussion on the desk. He's been around the scene for a long time. Kyrmi going to come around the corner here, send Diesel to the right side. JinguBang on the other monkey. Uses the beads to get out of there. Diesel gets juggled. Diesel will fall. Bayo still alive, though. This problem could be on the other side. Exilium falls down. Sibyl with the rotation. They get one. Osath could be two, and will be dos for Team Cryptik.
I love the patience coming out of Sibyl, because once he dashes in, he doesn't immediately knock up. He recognizes, all right, Bayroneri uses the bees. Let me wait it out. Then get the knock up. Great follow from Diesel, because his jungler was out. He wanted no part of that shenanigans. But despite being in a 1v2, Diesel had the presence of mind that the rotation from his support was coming around the corner, and that would at least be a 2v2 pincer maneuver.
He had the presence of mind, but not classic here. No Pomp Pyro this time around. It's going to be all about the long engagement. And so 2 kills go the way of Cryptik. You gave credit to Sibyl. And you know what, Toli?
Yeah?
I agree.
Supports don't get enough love these days.
You know what? Supports traditionally don't get enough love, but I think 2 reasons that I think that statement is starting to become untrue, and thankfully so. I think, 1, you've got a world where all of the players are so much better than they once were. These minor league teams, well, these are the bottom of the minor league. Our top teams, Armada and Hype, which we just watched, beat a lot of pro league teams season 2, season 3, like, might be towards the top. Everybody has just consistently improved, and when your carries start to reach that ceiling of just, we hit everything, it's your supports that start to shine. And also, shout out to our fans. And I mean, us, sort of. But shout out to our fans. I think everybody watching SMITE has also become more in tune with what goes on. And as we watch these supports, you know, it's frequently names like Genetics. It's frequently names like iRaffer. It's frequently names like Draco Marino that are coming up, whatever league you're watching. And I think that's a really big deal. Supports has been really impactful this season, particularly leaving the duo lane, making their way to the mid lane with the 3v3. Rotations from the support have been really impressive.
The meta has definitely come a long way. I won't disagree with you there, Tom. Being able to have probably the most balanced roles in every single lane between the mages and the hunters and the long lane into the warriors and the guardians still in that solo lane, as we're seeing interesting support invades. It's not just supports opting to start in the solo lane. Sometimes they're blinking past the back Harpy camps to invade the speed buff. There's a lot of openings you can do. Do you want to lean on the blue buff? Do you want to lean on the purple buff?
Do you want to harass the jungler?
Exactly, right? For like a full minute to make sure your jungler gets that level 2 gank off with the blink first. Some diverse openings for sure.
Right now, that's and you know, it's interesting because we can talk about the pro level of play and watch the long lane become something kind of strange, but I think that the different starts is really where I start to look at how interesting the game is, because I think in past seasons we've been able to say, well, there's a correct way to play the game, and the winner of Worlds is usually the one who figures out the start. And you figure out the start, and that means you have the lead, and that transition in the mid and the late game. I think this is the first time in SMITE history where there is no objective correct start. It's not a math problem anymore. It's a philosophy problem, where there is you can harass a jungler with this composition. With composition B, you might want to start C. With composition C, it might be better to start A. It's composition dependent, opponent dependent, team strength dependent. And because of that, again, I think that allows things like your support and your utility to kind of shine, because getting hit with a bat's getting hit with a bat. How do you approach?
And the mid lane already seeing a bit of an action. There's Osath barely survives with the shield.
Oh my goodness, Osath gets out, no idea how. And again, the supports come through in the clutch. Sibyl shows up and is able to help out this mid laner just a little bit. And Osath helps himself. The approach there, fear no evil.
Yeah. Fighting underneath a red buff Ho Yi ultimate as well, being able to survive that. Not an easy task. Reinforced shoes coming up big for Osath to survive that one.
A little bit rough. A little bit rough so far.
And to piggyback off of your discussion there for starts, because Season 5, it was all about the starts, where we saw Splice having Divios rotate over to the duo lane. Season 4, United starts as well. There was a lot of control in the solo lane matchup in that regard. Season 3, though, not so much, I want to say, between Energy versus Obey. A lot of it
That's true.
came down to the mid to late game groupings. I don't think either one of them wanted to be too frisky with each other in the early game. Looking back to Season 2, the enemy days up against Epsilon back then.
Does your solo lane do it?
I'm trying to think like how that one started out there.
That was all, if memory serves. Solo lane ran the game up until 17 minutes, and then it was up to the rest of your team to convert. And if Benji was on top, you were seeing that. And then if Dimmy was able to lose lane gracefully, you were seeing the resurgence of Epsilon. That's how they were able to go ahead and do what they do. But
that was still the speed to blue meta, no?
yes.
Okay.
And so it was all the solo lane prowess. You'd have these level 16s. You know what's going on with your carries right now? Rotating
That's
to mid.
what
That's
solo
what
lane was,
you're
yeah.
seeing the opposite.
It was the worst in Season 4, or at least it was the most exploitable in Season 4.
Exploited in the jungle right now is Kyrmi. He's squirming, but Diesel still getting
They
him
want
done.
more. They want more. They're using the Horus ultimate to get a little closer. Osath's rollout gets disrupted, but watch out for Dishonored.
Look at Cope. If anybody tries to jump over that wall, they're just going to meet the jungler. And JinguBang shows up. 4 kills without an answer from Team Exilium. That'll open the door. Red buff is available for an invade, but Gold Fury, the larger objective here at 8 minutes. Cryptik looking for it. This will separate them. Dishonored is here. So is Remember. Here he is, last shot. It's Exilium's, and it's all about DayToRemeber. Welcome back, mon frere. Looking for the last hit. Sibyl, low. Double knockup coming out from Squirmy Kyrmi. And DayToRemeber gets his team on the board gold-wise and kill-wise.
Oh, Kyrmi juking and weaving and even turning around to get the last hit onto Diesel. You love to see that one. Great plays from both of the side laners, collapsing on the gold.
Squirmy Kyrmi, man. That's his name for now and forever. Guy just moving in and out of those basic attacks. Can't find me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Really elusive on that Awilix, and a great play from Dishonored. I was about to mention how I would have loved to see Dishonored use his ultimate in the mid lane to save the life of Bayroneri, but saving it for a rainy day actually helped chase down the Gold Fury after the fact.
And again, just DayToRemeber coming through. Persistent Gust.
It's such a good ability for contesting objectives.
That's me, baby.
It's not even just about the damage. It's about the stall tactic. Being able to maybe even push people outside of the circle to potentially immune the Gold Fury so that no one has aggro, as it's going to regain health during that state.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Right there, though, that's just a steal.
Feels good. I mean, it's really scary when you're seeing two opposite side laners collapse on that Gold Fury, because those are usually the two highest levels of the game.
Team Cryptik feel good about that one. Might convert here and will. Kyrmi goes down, not moving out of that one. Sibyl still wants more. He's by himself. Finds a knockup. Nice job from Bayro. Responding with the ultimate, so no knockup on him.
That's how you got to do
so
it.
far. Yeah.
As an Anhur player, you got to take those chances to save your beads and use your ultimate. It's such a short cooldown, 75 seconds without cooldown reduction, as we're seeing a Transcendence being rushed, actually, which is, I think, the appropriate start for most Hunters mid, especially an Anhur middle that wants that mana. Cooldown reduction is nice, not really too required, but it's really about the 1,000 mana that you get once you complete all the stacks.
Yeah, that's really what you're looking for. The Transcendence is also just a dummy amount of power, which is super nice. MandoWarrior walking away from the knockup out of DayToRemeber. Transcendence, the physical Book of Thoth, if you will. And so with that in mind, definitely see a lot of these hunters build it early. Options after the fact. Sometimes they go into the Aussie to make up for the lack of sustain. Most of the time, it's usually just a double down on the power.
Yeah. Just from that item alone, once it's fully evolved, you're getting a total of about 66 power in general from this one item.
Don't forget, you're also getting mana on some of your other items if you go ahead and purchase. I mean, a number of the options that you want to build anyway, you'll build and then just go, oh, there's mana?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, there's mana. For example, let's take a look at the boots. Anhur's boots right here, red boots. There's mana on them.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, that 100 mana. What are you getting? 3
3%.
power?
Yeah, 3 power. It still adds up.
I'm writing that 3 power down, baby.
You got to track and keep the receipts for every year, you know?
Absolutely, my man. It's all about, you know, it's all about every little bit. Nickel and diamond, and Bayro certainly trying to get to $1. 12 minutes on the clock. Team Cryptik tied here with Exilium. Early game, all Cryptik. It was 4-0 at a certain point. But Exilium, with a single move, DayToRemeber, able to snatch away the Gold Fury and then some. Kill for himself, kill for his jungler. Kyrmi, real good there. Now it's Osath that's going to be under the knife, and cut he will get. Diesel, high-octane plays for the mid lane hunter. Great job there for Team Cryptik.
Do you think they wanted to kill that Geb there?
I'm not sure.
I mean, we saw how many ults? 1, 2, 3 ultimates. I'm just not 100% sold they really wanted him there.
I mean, the only ultimates that weren't used were the ultimates that weren't applicable.
Yeah.
Sybyl's would have taken too long, and Cope was on the other side of the world, so.
Yeah.
Geb being the target early, not a surprise. Even though he does have the tank boots, he is definitely a little bit immobile and easy to kind of take advantage of. And all you need is one pick to open the door for that red buff invade. And so early game, Osath is going to be the target. As the game gets later and later and these stacks of thieves start to build up, he'll become less and less attractive. And that's easy for us to say, because something I feel like happens often watching these games, Tully, is we agree that minute 11 you should be killing the support. We agree that minute 8 you should be killing the support. And then they make a play at minute 16 where they try to kill the support, and we go, oh no, why are you trying to kill the support?
Yeah, and even in that instance, when you're expending that many ultimates, it could be dicey if there's any sort of counter engage, right? Anhur having to jump away and use speeds prevented the re-engage afterwards. I think DayToRemeber was a little bit too far away to help out, as was Kyrmi. And at first, it looked as though JinguBang's ultimate wasn't the most timely, or position rather, as Osath was just able to get away from the Hunbat's ult after eating maybe only 2 ticks of that Fear No Evil. But it was really Diesel's ultimate that kept Osath in place, and MandoWarrior, just for good measure, was covering the escape.
That's a little bit better. JinguBang blinks forward, grabs one. Kyrmi's going to be number 2. Knock up and put down Diesel. 5-1 and 3. And just hot damn. Yeah, that's my take.
That's the way you use your AoE ultimates effectively, hitting more than just one target, but still looking good to abuse the beads, or the lack of beads, from Bayroneri. Kyrmi starting with the blink, so he's not going to have any sort of CC immunity, as yet again now Cryptik are the ones that secure the Fury this time around.
As easy as apple pie. You know, somebody told me I hadn't said this in a while, so I'm going to go for it. The stuff after the stuff there. Just simple team fight, simple objective. You open the door, you walk right on through it.
This is the stuff after the stuff for the other side, trying to be a little bit too aggressive. Still is Cryptik looking for the red buff to pull back onto JinguBang, but the beats was
through the wall.
Late.
Oh man, Bayro gets the kill through the wall. Exilium on the chase, don't love it, but there's the Cabrakan trapping. And MandoWarrior, what had happened was...
He gone. That's what had happened was the great rotation from Dishonored. They didn't even teleport over there. He just straight up walked over, sacrificing his own tier 1 tower, not caring that Exilium, or rather that Cryptik, gets the 500 gold, because they're going to go for tier 1 mid instead.
Dropping the Suns. Diesel with a nice little deterrent play. Nice look there. Real nice look there. Doesn't have to be overly complicated. Sometimes you just drop the ult.
Yeah.
The Suns have the capacity to do that. You see that with Apwash ult as well. Just, you can't walk here.
Yeah.
Just go away.
And with Transcendence, he has, what, 81 seconds remaining on that ultimate, minus however long it took for him to use it. So I think they could still go for round 2 with this wave if they were grouped up, but instead probably having a little bit of gold in hand that they want to back, want to make sure that they're going to get their own red buff to respawn in a minute or so. As Pyromancers... What happened?
Diesel didn't realize he couldn't jump over that wall.
Oh, okay. I was like looking at the items, so I like wasn't even...
Yeah, no, Diesel jumped over the, like jumped up, you know, you like, huh? I can't. Guys, I can't make it. Guys, I can't make it over. You ever watch the I'm going to aggro this real quick. There's a funny video of an FBI guy trying to climb this fence.
Okay.
And then one of his, like, fellow FBI guys just opens the fence, and this dude's like on top. That's what it looked like. He's like, guys, help! And this homie just walked around the tower.
There's always that try hard. It's like, dude, just take the elevator. Why you got to go up those stairs?
Listen, man, Spider-Man does what Spider-Man wants. As long as Disney says so. 8-4, Team Cryptik doubling Team Exilium. Tied everywhere else, though, like we're working for the Boy Scouts. 17 on the clock, or just shy of it. And we're looking for the next move. Gold Fury already down, will respawn in about 2 minutes. Will that be the place of action? I say no. I want it right here in the middle. I want to see a 3-man engage right now. And it would have been very bad because Exilium was moving over from the right side.
This would be a good power spike for both of these teams, honestly. We're seeing some anti-healing from Exilium trying to deal with this Guan Yu and Horus combination.
Ooh, I want to talk about it, but first I got to talk about this. Pyro goes to Exilium. Big fear, no evil. And Osath going to eat it. Diesel filling everyone up. Team Exilium now in trouble as Dishonored gets dishonored. Long range shot from M-Dubs, and Sibyl going forward. Can't decide left or right. Chooses right, gets crit. And the rest of the team will back off. Group up for the heal. And Team Cryptik, Fire Giants on the menu.
I think they got it, Tom. I think there's no world where Kyrmi by himself can really make a play. Now, he does have the blink, but he's not
This is great
to
pathing.
get there.
No, this is great pathing. He's going to go behind.
Oh, he got
the
spotted.
minions! No! Throw the bowling ball. Blink forward. Here it is. 1-2 punch. Wrong target. Looking for the kills instead. Cryptik get the Fire Giant, but Exilium are looking for the fight. DayToRemeber shows up out of nowhere and puts the monkey down. Big crits out of Remember, but he's by himself. Totally just a matter of time. Cryptik shut it down. 12 in total for the Fire Giant team.
Unfortunate for Kyrmi that his surprise tactic got spotted. Now, to be fair, though, he did walk over wards anyway as he was coming from the Tier 2 tower, so they had some sort of awareness that the play was about to happen and unravel, but at least killing out JinguBang to strip away one of the Fire Giant buffs.
If he steals Fire Giant and dies, is it still a good... This is actually... Do you agree or disagree with me? Most of the time, if you steal Fire Giant and die, it's at best neutral. This stage early in the game, I think you actually, that's super good. I would have much rather Kyrmi look for the Fire Giant steal there than the fight. If this is 25-26, I agree with the choice of going for JinguBang and going for that team fight. Who cares who gets the objective? But at 18, totally, Fire Giant's so valuable. I really kind of wish he threw his life away for the objective.
He probably should have, because MandoWarrior's ultimate was already used.
Yeah.
In most cases, you're like thinking of like, okay, what is my damage versus the opponent's damage? So you have to look at every god, every ability that you're up against, and when you see Thoth, you're like, well, I'm not out damaging the final judgment, so my best case scenario is to go for kills, but I think in a world where MandoWarrior's ultimate is down, yeah, you probably have steal potential. That Feather Step does a lot of damage, as does your knockup. Your basic attacks hit pretty hard.
Love this choice, though. Exilium going for the game of chicken. It always reminds me of Hollywood classic Fast and the Furious.
Oh, that's so annoying.
The movie?
No, the basic attack to stop his back.
Well, the frenzy is going to stop Kyrmi. And Dishonored's going to show up double stun. Isn't good enough, though.
Oh, Phoenix down already, though, on the left side. Still trying to make some more plays happen because Diesel gets caught out under the rocks.
Meanwhile, DayToRemeber puts another one on his board. 3-1-3 for the Hunter. Great job so far. Team Cryptik with a baker's dozen. Able to find that left side Phoenix, doing a good job there. Exilium, though, refusing to give it up. They will not go quietly into the night. They will not surrender without a fight. I'm not sure if today's their Independence Day, but they're certainly kind of letting Cryptik know you're going to be able to take a lead but not run with it. That's a real important thing because 5K, 4K, Fire Giant or not, that's a fight I can take.
It's definitely still, I think, in Exilium's grasp to control the game eventually. There's still plenty of towers to go through. Despite losing a relatively early 20-minute Phoenix, it's quite an accomplishment for Cryptik, but the level disparity is not that tremendous for Cryptik to lean on the rest of the Phoenixes, with their Fire Giant buff only lasting for 45 seconds.
Really, when we look at level differential, a lot of the conversation is look at what this character is able to do with this lead, but really, it's maybe it's glass half full, glass half empty, and I'm just the world's most negative person, but I see more Team Exilium not doing... My point is that Team Cryptik are ahead, and it's not that they're super dunking on Exilium, it's that Exilium are behind, and Anhur's just not doing what he's supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the lead, you see this, what we see last time out of BennyQ, 11-0, because Ullr got off to a crazy lead. There's 2 levels, a level and a half differential in the mid lane, and while Diesel has had success, much less than watch out for this runaway Ho Yi is... much more is, where is the Anhur?
Sure.
That's kind of where I'm driving at. He just seems kind of quiet.
Instead of a micro level, I'm looking at the macro level. I think Cryptik's team fight is just straight up better.
Well, Exilium are going to look for it on their own terms this time, blinking in with the Geb. But it's still MandoWarrior. It's going to do what he wants. Backside, Kyrmi's going to run away, and Cope looking for the back line. Front side, Diesel falls down. Dishonored brings him to the death. JinguBang takes down Bayro. And Dishonored likely to fall here to the hand of MandoWarrior. And he will. The Thoth guy, 4, 1, and 4. The Jungle Monkey, 5, 2, and 8. JinguBang, well, that's the other monkey's weapon. But right now, it's Batz that's doing it.
I think this could be game if they go straight to the left side. If they're going to go for the minions with the fire minions. No, they're going to go for the towers instead. I thought they were going to ignore everything and go for a 4-on-1. And a lone Awilix defending a Titan doesn't seem very plausible to me, but instead, taking the guaranteed options is Cryptik. Might be able to sneak away this middle Phoenix.
Middle Phoenix, definitely. Man, I'm usually the one that's calling for the end. I trust you, though.
It was probable. MandoWarrior's ultimate was up, but they were so far away. That was the issue. If the middle Phoenix was down instead of the left one, then they'd probably straight up go for the end.
100% agree with you there.
Man, DayToRemeber got blown up in that last fight.
That's
plucked away.
I mean, post hiatus, right? Coming back and getting blown up. Talk about getting blown up, though. I wanted to talk about this a number of minutes ago. Jingwei, built-in critical strike. Fail not, you're kind of forced to go critical strike, right? Before the fail not was even purchased, we saw this tech from Copebby. Spectral armor. Not an item that we see often, or at all, man. The last time spectral armor was built, actually, that's a lie. It was 3 weeks ago by iRaffer, but that's a different story. Very rarely is this item built, and that's my point.
If you're not going, like, let's say, Breastplate of Valor, then I think Spectral Armor is a good little compliment towards the MP5 and the amount of mana that you're missing from not picking up Breastplate of Valor, because you're already having CDR from the Ankile, from the Predwin, from the Blackthorn Hammer. You're already capped out. There's no reason for you to go to Breastplate there. This is another way to still get your mana resource there for the team fight to utilize your healing.
All right, now Copebby doing the dash, and it's Team Cryptik that are here. I've been rhyming a lot. Trying to think of like a real nerdy like hash line, like get your MD5 checksum going on. Nobody out there. Anybody?
No, not even me.
Any OPSEC?
No.
Well, you gotta check it. Make sure that code connects. Make sure your files are secure. Right side, Team Cryptik doing a pen test of their own, and Exilium in trouble. Dishonored halfway down, Copebby even further, and Bayro gone at the hand of the Birdman. MandoWarrior has been on top of this game, and Exilium have been under the thumb of Team Cryptik as a whole. JinguBang creates a hole, and Team Cryptik take a bird. Easy. Left side has respawned. Middle Phoenix gone. Right side Phoenix gone. And Cryptik have the solar wind in their sails.
Utilizing that heal from Cope to try to go for round 2 potentially under that middle Phoenix that got taken away. There goes the blink from Sibyl looking for a knock-up. Will catch DayToRemeber, but he's just going to agility away.
No big deal, he says. Right side is where everybody's coming. Copebby creeping around the left. So is JinguBang. Half HP on the Titan already. Kyrmi squirming away. Sibyl won't have the luxury. DayToRemeber takes him down. And it's still half on the big boy. One more time, Cryptik looking for the surge, but Team Exilium have had a great defensive set here. 3 people on the bench, and 2 people heading all the way back home. JinguBang and Diesel.
Osath, the hero Exilium needed. That Cataclysm, so impactful there. I don't think there were many beats to stop that one from defending. And on top of that, JinguBang, Diesel, Sibyl, MandoWarrior, all their ultimates were down outside of Copebby from ending that one game. And the cooldown reduction from Cope was allowing him to use his ultimate, but he had to use it at a point where they were trying to disengage and thinking about looking for the fight. But at that point, too little too late. The damage from the follow-up, Kyrmi, I believe, pulls in one, kills him very quickly. The chase down now. This could be another middle Phoenix for Exilium.
Absolutely could be. Still, respawn's coming about 5 minutes, or 5 seconds rather, so the Phoenix is a different story. Tier 2 absolutely in the pocket. Exilium trying to find their own standards, though. Can't borrow those from the Jazz greats. 10 to 18. Just shy of a half hour of play here. Exilium have been able to fight back a lot of times. But I think this game is going to come down to, I say this often when it comes to teams that are looking for the counter initiation. Your counter punch can be super heavy, but at some point, the first punch is going to win. And that's right here. Team Cryptik right here are looking for the final push. And if Exilium don't get the chance to respond, they just lose the game.
It's very possible. They don't have that much of a lead to just do that first mega punch, right? They have to make sure that they have all their checkboxes, which is their ultimates and their relics. MandoWarrior without both of their relics might need to wait on that one because the dive potential or counter dive from Exilium between the Blink Cabrakan, the Blink Gab, the Awilix to get in there as well with her Blink is certainly there to take advantage.
It's only 4K lead. Really not that large of a lead here. Our players are going to back to base. Spend their last gold options. Fire Giant is probably what Cryptik are waiting for here. I think it's a slim enough lead that they still do need some assistance, and the Fire Giant will help them out. Half a minute till it spawns. That's why we see the Pyro, a little bit of farm here. We're just treading water for 30 seconds until the big boy shows up. Guan won't be there.
Does have teleport upgraded, so he can easily be there whenever he wants to.
Mando won't be there.
He'll get there. 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll get there. And on top of that, you probably want to wait till 30-minute mark anyway for it to be at least enhanced.
That was going to be my next question. You want to wait for the enhanced Fire Giant?
You might as well. Unless there's a very specific reasoning where no one can contest you.
Now, I'm here. I want this. I want to see Cryptik rush this down because I think Exilium fights into an EFG attempt. Here, I think Cryptik could burn it down fast enough if they chose to. But Exilium are going to start the fight anyway. Backline, Cope's in trouble. Here comes Dishonored. That could be big, but it's all about JinguBang spreading the team fight in 3 different directions. Sibyl thought about ulting. Goes a different direction. Dishonored.
He was all in committed at that point. No way out, unfortunately, for him. Unless you have a Giannis on your team, you're dead to rights.
That's Dallas, baby. You're a solo laner. Sometimes that happens, because I think Dishonored made a fantastic play there. His team chose to go ahead and go forward and make the play. Solo lane Cabrakan came in, stunned 2, trapped 1, started the team fight, and then JinguBang fantastically separated everybody else. Team Cryptik won that fight without killing a single soul. It was just the drop of Fear No Evil from JinguBang that gave them the separation. They fell back, and Dishonored was just like, well, I guess I'll die now.
Yeah, I think at that point, you got to either all-in commit to defend the Fire Giant or just let it go.
I agree.
And try to defend your Phoenixes, because now you lost both. You lost the Fire Giant, you lost right side Phoenix. Dishonored's still dead for 4 seconds, and defending against a Thoth under the Phoenix, difficult with how much range he has. Like, you can just channel that Final Judgment from so far away. I think
You've got a squad that takes that fight well at Fire Giant.
yeah, exactly. So I think Exilium's better bet or chances at winning was to take the fight at Fire.
Cryptik are going to take the fight on the left lane. Phoenixes have respawned just a little bit. There's JinguBang on the back line all by himself. DayToRemeber all by himself in the fountain. Bayro will join him. Sibyl takes down Kyrmi. And that should be it, Anatoly. Only 2 players left. They're tanky, but the carry's on the Titan. Halfway, that's it. Done, son. Team Cryptik in 31 minutes of play take the game.
It's about the team fights. Diesel 9-3 and 10 on the Ho Yi. JinguBang playing this Hun Batz. So much AoE from those 2 ultimates. And then you got the long range follow-up that MandoWarrior was so accurate with.
Again, you brought up the JinguBang. I'm going to keep looking in that jungle position. The Hun Batz was able to provide so much. Hun Batz I always look at as, it's interesting, we talked about counter initiation or initiation. Hun Batz is one of the rare characters that can do both. You can blink to the back line, drop Fear No Evil, and kill DayToRemeber, or you can get jumped on by Cabrakan, drop Fear No Evil, and screw up their whole push. It can do both, and it was because of the fact that it could do both that JinguBang was allowed to be so successful for his team.
And then the healing as well coming through from the Guan Yu. It was a good way to just accelerate the team fights and chase down any stragglers at the end of the day.
Nice, smooth stuff. Honestly, from both sides, Cryptik was able to kind of push forward and take the victory, but Exilium not too far behind. It's going to be an exciting series. Stay tuned for some more.
INAP, powering the control room for the SMITE Minor League.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk, everybody. Aggro joined by Taco to break down Cryptik's Game 1 victory. And Taco, they really were in control basically from minute 1. This mid 3v3 we talked so much about during picks and bans came to fruition really, really well, all centered around Diesel's Ho Yi.
And not only that, but I think that the Thoth pickup here as well was also really critical because there was just so much range. It was really tough, I think, for anybody to get kind of close territories because a lot of those narrow jungle fights, especially those surrounding the Fire Giant, were really difficult, I think, for Cryptik to lose just because of the fact that they had so much space to rely on and work with, and it's really easy to stack up your Thoth damage when you have everybody funneled into the same corridor.
Very well-balanced composition, I would say, there from Cryptik. I mean, you've got Copebby on the Guan Yu there to really frontline effectively and provide heals for your backline. You mentioned the long-range damage from MandoWarrior. Diesel with some AoE from the Ho Yi, but also great single-target. Impressive stuff from Cryptik. We'll see if they can keep it going right now in Game 2 as we are ready for picks and bans for this one. Exilium, on the other hand, had some good moments. DayToRemeber poked his head in, stole a Gold Fury away. I mean, Day looked okay, I'd say, on the Jing way, but clearly just need a little bit more in the tank if they want to beat Cryptik.
There just wasn't really a whole lot of early game presence from Exilium, and I think that by far hurt them the most over everything else because by the time that they did start to get a little bit of their backline carries online, by then, you know, you've already been sieged, you've already lost Phoenixes. It's really tough to try and shut out your opponent, especially a Thoth-based competition at that, where you have so much range that you're trying to deal with inside of the fountain space as is, but I do think that these changes are kind of interesting. Exilium looking for that first pick position instead of the second pick that they were in last game, maybe just feeling as though trying to prioritize a good pick for maybe their mid jungle or even the support.
Yeah, it could be. It was Horus first pick last time around for Cryptik, and Exilium might just mirror that. They have the opportunity, indeed they will. The Awilix for Kyrmi, I mean, we talked about how much we liked it during picks and bans and how well it works on paper. In reality, when late game you're just pulling Copebby in over and over and over again, it's just not going to work out for you.
And that was the thing, is that Cope oftentimes was able to even turn that situation and dish out all of his damage before Kyrmi really had a chance to try and escape. And it was either Kyrmi being too low to reinitiate and having to leave the fight almost immediately, or getting blown up in the process. And then 4v5 disadvantages are never any fun for any of the teams, or at least not the losing team involved.
No, the winning team feels usually pretty good about that as Cryptik go back to the Thoth. You imagine that's for MandoWarrior, but instead pick up the Erlang Shen this time around. This tells me that it might be Erlang's support, just because it was picked so early in response to this Horus selection on the other side. It just feels to me like that might be where it's going.
One thing I will add, though, to this Erlang, normally I'm a big fan of the Erlang, and it feels like you can hardly ever go wrong with that God pick selection, but
Sure.
Horus has a lot of tools to kind of interrupt what Erlang loves to do, and that's look for the turtle form knockup pin setup for gods like Thoth to really activate and channel that final judgment damage inside of, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for this Erlang to work through a King Arthur and Horus. Really liking the addition of that cripple presence from the Arthur.
Agreed. The cripple very big, and Jing doesn't worry nearly as much about that turtle form knockup that you were just mentioning. So I like Exilium's two responses to this Erlang Shen pick as Cryptik go away from the Hou Yi this time around and head towards the Anhur. This was likely a Hou Yi last time around because Bayroneri already had the Anhur in his hands, but Diesel going to try his hand at this pick this time around. Still same idea though. I mean, early mid pressure courtesy of a hunter.
I think it's also wise to take away the Batz, remove that Fear No Evil. Decent AoE presence so far from the Horus and King Arthur, and it can be difficult to try and actually generate any sort of DPS of your own when you're trying to break through that warrior frontline as is, but still, Cryptik does need a lot more, I think, in terms of that heavy setup and peel potential, because as it stands, Erlang's already going to be struggling enough as is, looking for initiation, and
Sure.
I really just don't see much of a peel aspect coming through so far.
So Guan Yu banned by Exilium. Don't want to let Copebby reprise that pick in the solo lane. He's also been a fan of Amaterasu. That's a pick that I'd be looking to take away most likely. Something that is going to concede the lane up against a character like King Arthur, but has the ability to turn on the jets in those later team fights and make a big impact. Ravana is the ban instead. We saw Russian Poppy play it in solo earlier on, so certainly was an option.
I was actually waiting to see whether or not Cryptik would look for this Athena pickup. I think that the taunts could be awesome to really help out this Thoth and Anhur with getting their damage off, but I'm also looking at the Athena in terms of that damage mitigation off of the Defender of Olympus.
Yeah.
With Exilium having the Horus and the Arthur, those gods can definitely take turns looking to kind of harass the backline and stay in that dive positioning. So Athena should be able to take off a lot of that stress.
I like this Athena pick a lot here for Cryptik. I'd love it in the solo lane for Cope in particular. Just has that potential. I mean, Solo Troll is the one who played it a lot during the midseason invitational LAN, and he looks great on it. Solo, obviously, a bit more practice in the solo lane than Cope, but still, I think it certainly has potential there. As Poseidon, Susano, lots of AoE damage round out the draft here for Exilium. Their draft looks pretty good, Taco, but I gotta say, after how well Cryptik played last game, you add an Erlang Shen into the mix and an Anhur, it's tough to feel bad about where Cryptik is.
But it's a lot more difficult, I think, to make that Erlang Shen work when there are so many different interfering factors like the Whirlpool Cripple, like King Arthur's Cripple. Horus has knockups as well, and that to the skies that can kind of disengage the entire team if they're quick enough. Really like this Lord of the Afterlife, though. I think that anti-heal is going to be a really important presence from preventing a lot of the sustain between Horus and Arthur.
Sure. I just don't know how... I really like the idea of the Athena solo. Might not work quite as well in the jungle. We'll see how it works out if Cryptik can find the 2-0 sweep here up against Exilium. Let's throw it to Tom and Tolly for the cast.
Great job on the desk, as always, Taco and Ryan. Exilium, Cryptik. Head-to-head one more time. JinguBang on the jungle Athena. And it's me, Tolly, on the cast. And Alex Barnes, the extremist of men here on the observation. If you've watched Challenger Cup from once upon a time, you will know and love him. Maybe just know him. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Alex.
I thought it was going to be Hindu Man over there. Didn't he say he was going to operate the
Yeah,
camera?
unfortunately, lifting the curtain a little bit. Doug's a little sick. Everybody give your best wishes to a cameraman. So we've got a couple of people in the wings ready to help out if needed. Alex, one of our illustrious production members, shifting over. Everybody's switching. Kind of, it reminds me of sort of if you ever watch like F1 or NASCAR races, the pit crew is all of these people that are extremely good at doing this one minor task. And so you've got all these people just like in the assembly line. That's pretty much our production staff. Our very own pit crew, which if you ask any racing fan, is really the brains behind it all. The drivers just pushing the buttons. We're the drivers, Tolly!
Yeah, we are. And I'll take it, honestly. It takes a village to cast and run a SMITE game.
And it takes a villain to harass the jungler.
Oh.
JinguBang over here trying to deal with Osath. As Osath is running around trying to do whatever he can. That said, Jingu did get his speed buff, and that's a nice look.
He did lose that big Harpy at the end of the day. Still wasting time, not getting the blue buff, not getting any farm in the mid lane either, or solo lane. So he's missing out on quite a bit, knowing how Kyrmi is going to make this rotation out and potentially steal it away.
Oh, it's definitely, yep, there's the chase, and no pull, only level 2 for Kyrmi.
Huh.
Stormkata jet stream.
When you see a blue buff that low, as a level 1, when you're against a level 1 Athena, you should know that the shield wall was already used.
Beads into the impale. This is an all-out arena match. Bayro thinking about making the loop. Won't do it. JinguBang turning around. And that's it.
So where I was getting at was Kyrmi could have stole the blue.
Yeah.
When the blue buff was at 10% health or so, like that shield wall was already used. It's a level 1 Athena.
Oh well, not going to be able to find it. Yeah, Team Exilium and Cryptik here tied up. They're trying to make it all different in the early game. There's the big taunt and help over the wall from Diesel. Still nothing just yet. Athena jungle. Early game character for sure. Not the earliest game. Level 1, level 2 even, not so hot. Once you hit level 4, level 6, people go, oh, it's just an Athena shield wall. Oh, I'm half HP.
Yeah, that's kind of what shield wall does, and it does a lot of damage and good scaling too. So that's why you do want to go jungle Athena, because you're able to avoid combat long enough that you don't have to be super tanky to start off the game like most supports do.
Right.
So you can build into a hybrid defense and actually utilize the scaling for not only the shield wall, but that Defender of Olympus. If you can find a way to confirm that damage, such as Osiris tether into his root, into more shenanigans from Sybyl's 3 forms of CC.
Oh, I got that.
That Athena damage should be near the top 5 charts.
Athena jungle, one of the original Guardian jungles. Athena and Ymir, kind of the first 2 Guardians to kind of come out and do it. And I think largely it's because you can build all-out offense for 2 items. You can build pen boots into Bancroft if you want, make that happen, and then go into hybrid and eventually full tank items and be very effective. Because you have those moments of Thanatos where you're just doing it in the early game, and then when you start to quote-unquote fall off because your damage is too hard to really handle, well, I still have a 2-second taunt and a global ultimate that does work. So Athena's absolutely one of the characters that can make that transition. Clearly a different thought process with the tank boots. And I don't think we're going to see Bancroft. But Cryptik certainly with the right idea here, going for the Athena jungle, looking for the invade with 2 other players around them. Kyrmi taunted into the damage, and there's the blue buff secure by Copebby.
Gonna be able to walk away as Dishonored can only watch and go back to get some farm. And look at the rest of the comp from just the Athena jungle. Who's gonna be following up from the taunt? It's gonna be Thoth, which is very good with the final judgment, and then also Diesel coming through with that Desert Fury. Both of those ultimates is a nice touch.
MandoWarrior looking for the 1v1. DayToRemeber dodges out the finger, and so he won't get rooted there. Remember when Thoth had a stun?
Oh my God, it was a stun.
Remember when Thoth had
it used to pass
multiple
through
players
too, yeah. It wasn't just a stun, it passed through as well.
How the mighty have fallen.
I call that version of Thoth the Matumbo.
No, no, no. I like that one, totally. That's a good one. Thoth recently, though, has seen a resurgence. A little bit of love given to the hieroglyphic assault, right? That one, now as you hit multiple hits on it, will increase. Hitting an enemy guy with this ability increases the damage they take from each subsequent shot by 20% and reduces the cooldown by 1 second. Shoutouts to me, the rap god. That's real big, because you're talking 20, then 40, and then 60 after the fact, right? That single-handedly has brought Thoth back.
Is that how it works, or is it 20% of the 20%?
Yeah, yes, it's not additive, it's multiplicative. You are correct. That.
It's just a whole bunch of death.
I don't need no math to figure that one out. That said, Athena's going to show up, taunt into the damage. Double knockup's good. The help from Osath better. And it doesn't matter that you taunted into it. Diesel goes down after the ultimate is served 2-0 to Exilium.
To piggyback more off of the Thoth changes as well, is not too long ago we also changed the scaling of the final judgment. I believe 20% extra there. So going for a glass cannon build into the long lane, maybe that's another reason why we're seeing a little bit more Thoth action.
The ultimate was, I think, sort of the Thoth players go, all right, and then.
Wait, is that from Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes. Yes.
No, and then.
Dude, where's my Thoth? And you're sitting there like, well, I mean, 20%, and then. All right, well, hieroglyphic assault. And it's like, all right, I found my Thoth. It was in the parking lot the whole time, just waiting to be picked. Realistically, though, I think Thoth has been one of the characters that have demanded the long lane as well. When you look at mages in that long lane, Snoopy's Vulcan comes up very early. DayToRemeber gets in a lot of trouble right here.
Yeah, Sibyl blinked in there on the left side trying to find a kill. DayToRemeber still holding on to that ultimate, not feeling too threatened by that. Somebody having to cover that lane will be Kyrmi, and that's the best feeling when you can cover a lane where you either die or are forced to back.
Totally TKO. You don't need to die to get pushed out of lane. That's the minutia of the solo lane being brought over here to the long lane, which has become the solo lane. And with that in mind, you know, I was talking mages in the carry role. Soupy's Vulcan comes to mind, and we saw the Zhang Kui at a fun ball. But Thoth always struck me as a mage that made sense in this lane, even like meta be damned. Not a mage ADC like the Ullruns and the Souls of the world, but just he's kind of safe. You can play all the way back. You've got this long range sort of artillery fire available. He makes sense as a carry that doesn't rely on basic attacks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's not just Thoth being played. Like Poseidon was played by Funballer back at first phase. Isis is being played by Cyclone Spin in this long lane. We're seeing like some soul action from time to time, Morrigans of the world. So
back in first phase, Funball played ADC Poseidon at launch tournament.
Oh my god.
With I will give you 5 gems if you can tell me what team Funball Okay, there you go. So it wasn't as difficult as some of those.
I played in the launch tournament. Of course, I know what team Funball was in.
You did play in the launch tournament. I remember that. Oh man, good times for you actually. Dignitas did all right.
It was fun.
Couldn't make it all the way, unfortunately.
TSM went undefeated.
Yeah, TSM. That was the last.
That was his birthday.
No shade. Day. That was the last time Cuvo and Trix Tank won a big tournament. Honestly,
I think they won a land.
They won a summertime land?
Yeah, like at season 2 summer.
Valencia or Sweden or something.
Oh, like
because.
Well, yeah, season 4 Valencia. They did win that with Dignitas. Yeah.
But they've definitely found their struggles. That's the top of the top, though. The bottom of the minor league, locking horns this time around. And I said it before on the desk, you know, listen, I'm not here to spin you anything but the truth. If we're watching Team 1 versus Team 6, all right, sure, that's a conversation. Middle lane, though, it's a whole different conversation. Kyrmi with number 3, and Cryptik have to walk away. And this is what I was getting at. When you're watching evenly matched squads, 5 and 6, this is just as exciting as watching 1 and 2, in my opinion. Cryptik took number 1 to the bank. Game 1 was almost easy for Team Cryptik. Everything was coming up Millhouse for them. This time around, I mean, looks like I changed the channel. Exilium are the ones doing everything. Team Cryptik even had a counter fight in the middle lane before. Big ultimate from JinguBang, double taunt, who cares? Exilium still wound up with the kill.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change to their composition as well. It's not like these huge AoE hunt bats into the Ho Yi style. It's all right. DayToRemeber, seeing that from a distance, nice reaction time there. It's more about these individual targets. The Erlang Shen going in on one target, the Athena following up, maybe finding a pick to follow up with the Thoth and the Anhur, right? Not the sustained, long, drawn-out team fights that was there earlier in game 1 of Cryptik.
Also, that one a little bit off the mark. Taunt just missing.
It's always easier to avoid a big cone like that by standing as close to the god as possible. The smaller hitbox there.
Yeah, I always say you run at the Ymir. You know?
Sometimes, yeah.
You run at the Ymir.
It's like that blind spot, like in Chronicles, not Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black.
Oh. I didn't see Pitch Black, but I saw Chronicles of Riddick.
Well, before that was Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, and one of the monsters, it's like they have a blind spot. So the way he was actually avoiding the monster was he was literally like 2 feet away from the monster's
Totally
face.
standing up in my face right now.
I'm just like this kind of deal.
Two
He
steps
was like
away.
this
Yeah?
the whole time. If the monster looked left, he would go right with it.
And so just dodging.
Just
Totally
dodging.
is very close to my face right now. I think we got to recap the game here, Tolfred. 11 minutes in.
Well, we're just trying to demonstrate and put a comparison as to the best way to avoid a Ymir freeze and Athena taunt.
You know what? You're not wrong. But a tie game we have for sure. Early stages of the mid game, and this is what I was going to ask for. I was going to say somebody needs to crack the nut. A lot of time we have just this walnut waiting to be de-shelled. Osath gets de-shelled. Cryptik, with their first kill of the game, opened the door up for the Gold Fury. And that's what I was going to say. When you're around this 12-minute mark, sometimes I want you to put the playbook away and kill someone. Just hammer to nail, you know? There was no finesse to that kill. Kill somebody and then look for an objective after the fact. Cryptik correctly identified that one kill wasn't enough. Osath's death did not open the door for the Gold Fury, so they shied away from it, and I think that was the right choice. But all of a sudden, Cryptik on the board, they've got some momentum, they've got something to talk about.
It's just a stall tactic. Kyrmi
The beats.
avoiding the final judgment, also going to use that ultimate defensively, juking and weaving as long as he can.
Nope.
Too many projectiles fired his way.
Diesel puts number 2 up. 2, 1, and 0 for the mid laner. Great job there. Gotta love it. Osath and Bayro might get caught here. Cope and Sibyl showing up.
Trying to use the beats to get away, uses an ultimate defensively, knocking up 2 under the tier 1 tower alongside Osath for the disengage, looking at Dishonored to go for anything there, but he doesn't have the blink. Instead, he opted for the beads as a secondary relic. Makes sense.
It really does. I think the beads are very important when it comes down to this Athena into everything else that we were talking about. Also, Erlang Shen with every piece of crowd control in the entire game. Solo laners buying beads it always feels like a dirty conversation. People kind of look at solo laners with beads as like, you should just play better. But I think that is absolutely not the case, Anatoly. Rare should you buy the beads, but when you should, you absolutely should.
I think the best case, there's 3 gods that I'm always buying beads, or usually buying beads as a solo laner.
Let me guess. Ares? Athena? Erlang Shen? Okay. Give me the other 2.
Cerberus and Dodgy. Gods that can really displace you.
Okay.
Those are the 3 gods I'm most fearful about.
I think I would have gotten there with the Daji. I don't think I would have gotten there with the Cerberus. Probably just because we haven't seen him as of late.
So yeah, any gods that really displace you to put you way out of position, you kind of have to be mindful about that. Like, because taunt into Erlang Shen shenanigans, it's eventually going to get CCR'd long enough that it's not going to last long enough. So if you can get crowd control reduction in your build, you can offset that with, like, let's say a Spirit's Robe.
Is it also something, it also seems like all of those abilities are something that you can get grabbed with your team. If the enemy's dedicating their crowd control to you single-handedly, like you said, buy a Spirit Robe and
you're
walk
good.
away.
Yeah, and you're good.
Just moonwalk, like who cares?
Like, against the comp of Cryptik, I might just opt for still get Blink, but I would try to get a Spirit's Robe to offset all that crowd control.
Gold Fury here threatened. Last time around, Exilium's carry was able to steal it. Not this time. Dash is on. Knock him is good. Bayro takes JinguBang. You sacrifice your jungle Athena for a Gold Fury. That's totally fine. A purple buff invade. Annoying, but still fine. All in all, that purple buff invade from Exilium is bait. If Cryptik go to defend that and they lose some more, the Gold Fury no longer worth it. So I like Cryptik's decision to say, you know what, fine. You can take it, no big deal.
Seems today's theme is you get Gold Fury, you lose a member, you lose tier 1 mid tower, you're probably going to lose Pyromancer unless Sibyl has something to say about it.
Right to the back, there's the taunt onto Bayro, and a little bit of help from Osath.
Link's a good relic to be able to stop a lot of shenanigans. It doesn't always have to be used offensively. There's always a way to make it work on the other front.
In the money. Osath has been impressive today so far for Exilium, kind of showing up when the team needs him. Really being able to provide that support for his squad so far. The Horus, I think one of the better options in the support role with respect to the amount of tools he has. Just so many options. Dash to my team to heal, knock the player up, lock them down, slow them after the fact.
And also shred protections
Yes.
during that cleave basic attack.
It's a big deal. Horus, one of my top picks. I think a lot of people are staring at some of the other more glamorous choices, but Horus just provides so much lockdown, totally. He's very scary to me.
He definitely is, and we haven't even mentioned his ultimate to the skies.
And that's the thing. I think the ultimate is one of those things that I'm very excited about because the ultimate reminds me of characters that we've seen in the past where we just got to wait for players to get good at it. Taunt into the Anhur, but the Anhur is the one that's going to get taunted. Great play by Bayro around the backside. And JinguBang. Dishonored. No death for him. Makes the rotation from the short. Copebby doing the same thing. Pulled back in, knocked up. Beautiful play. But the damage likely to be a little bit too low to topple the Osiris.
Yeah, level 16 Osiris. He's not going to be able to deal that much damage, but Cryptik thought they were about to get something rolling off that right side with a nice little taunt, but Exilium had other intentions. A good beats from Bayroneri to turn that fight around. Even through Diesel's Desert Fury, the side of the Kraken, still too much damage to handle for a level 13 on her.
When it comes down to Team Cryptik, it's very similar to what we saw in Game 1. It just, Exilium didn't bring it home. But Exilium looked fantastic at the counter initiations, right? Every time Team Cryptik would kind of start something, Exilium would be able to respond. JinguBang did a great job with the Fear No Evil, and I think that was the difference maker. Here, Team Cryptik are doing it. They're going for the taunts. And then somebody that didn't get taunted is punishing Cryptik. And that's what we're seeing. This time around, it was Bayro just, oh, you got a double taunt, that's huge. But the one guy you didn't taunt has a Kraken, and now you're dead.
I mean, no, he did get taunted. He just had to beads the taunt and then turn the fight around completely. So I think even if you do taunt anyone from Exilium, they're going to turn that fight around. Like, if I'm taunting Kyrmi, Bayroneri, the damage you're about to receive in return, you better make sure that you have your dash to get away from them after you taunt.
That's why we see the blink. The idea is blink in and taunt. That's a taunt of a different color. And the beautiful pillar. Diesel sets himself up. Bayro goes down. Sibyl and Diesel vying for the kill. DayToRemeber, safe and sound around the purple.
I can still fight.
I don't think you can. Go home. You've got a passive. Fly back. It's not that big a deal. Jingwei with the biggest case of FOMO I've ever seen. Mid lane tower. Osath, by himself. Has some friends show up. And now Diesel's by himself. Go sit on the bench, my friend. 3-3-0 for the mid lane on her. Successful early game. Mid game a little bit more problematic.
Good rotations from Dishonored with that teleport just in the nick of time to save the tier 1 tower. It's not that the 500 gold is that big of a deal to give up. It's about the map control. You want to give your opponent more time before they go for that kind of objective. And now because you want it, you go for an objective of your own front.
Nice look at the graphs here. Up and down is how this one has gone. No team has really been able to grab a good gold lead. The experience lead was significantly in Exilium's favor for the moment. But Team Cryptik able to answer back with that last sequence, and now everything at parity one more time. 7-3. Those 4 kills explain why Exilium have that upshoot in experience earlier on. And then the last team fight explains why we find ourselves back at the beginning.
Both teams feeling themselves at different points in the game, and you got to respect that, though.
I love
because
it.
you need the confidence to enable yourself to make plays like that. Somebody has to shot call, somebody has to follow the shot calls, and there was a call. It was followed. Fortunately for Cryptik, wasn't working out for them as Exilium was properly prepared for that defense. So we're seeing still another back and forth game, which is still anyone's game at 20 minutes in.
Some of the new stuff, get a chance to see Shaman's Ring a little bit more often this time around, and I love it. I think Shaman's Ring has been criminally underpurchased. Now, a little bit of an upgrade, 10 extra power on the item, and so the Poseidon able to really make use of it for sure. Has it really 10 power enough to change it?
Well, even with the removal of movement speed on a lot of the ring items, it's just still such a good item to get the follow-up damage from your Kraken.
Osath looking for the play to disrupt the opposition's Gold Fury attempt. He's all by himself, and here comes the blink from Kyrmi. Ultimate out of the Thoth guy, not good enough. It's Diesel that falls down. Good hands from the Susano. Bayro on the run. Beads is fruitless, and Cope gets the kill after the fact. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange, both mid laners sitting down. Cope surrounded, but thorns are good. Still a problem, healing and dealing, and Sibyl on the other side reeling as Dishonored puts Cope down. Cryptik still looking to fight.
As they should in a 3-on-3, but there's not much mana remaining for MandoWarrior, and he just dashed in, recognizing this. Osath goes in for himself, forcing out the beats from MandoWarrior, and I love the play from Copebby, by the way. When he went in with Lord of the Afterlife, he gets the Parade Wind bubble, and the damage was actually just enough to kill Bayroneri. It was kind of cute.
Right now the Gold Fury being contested, and it's Exilium that will grab it. JinguBang tried, but comes up empty-handed. Dishonored goes for the chase. JinguBang blinks away. Ain't no thing. But Gold Fury goes the way of Exilium, and they'll be leading this game at 22 minutes by 1,000 gold.
Very interesting back and forth action there, because despite Cope being able to penetrate that backline, I think that Dishonored and Osath did a good job on the other side as well. Both of these backliners are struggling. Diesel was the very first one to fall, and as an Anhur player, you generally don't see that with how much tools are at your disposal for survival. A huge pillar to slow, a jump that's also a knock-up that could be used up and down, an impale to knock people away, a CC immune ultimate. But to have 4 deaths, the most in this game as an Anhur, almost feels unacceptable.
It kind of does. You got a lot of options, as you had mentioned. But for me, I think it's a reflection of how Diesel's been playing. He's been playing up, trying to make this JinguBang selection really work. We've seen a lot of the taunts into the Diesel ultimates, and then he gets punished for using that ultimate offensively, which, I mean, you're an Anhur.
Sure.
That's what you need to be doing. Exilium are just doing a great job. What I'm trying to illustrate here, Anatoly, is that, like, you and I certainly agree. I think you and I agree on all fronts that you can have that slash line, but it's almost not his fault. He's getting in trouble for doing exactly what he's supposed to do. It's just that Exilium are showing up a little bit early and putting him down. They're like, listen, I know you got a hall pass. I'm still here to beat you up, dog.
I just think he needs to worry about Kyrmi's positioning the next team fight, because that seems to be his bane. He gets dove on by the Susano, and then he can't get out. Even once the jet stream comes out, he's going to get chased down.
Sibyl here able to get on out. Turtle form, waddle.
Double ults just to get away from that situation. Looking for a turnaround play, though, with Athena around the corner. Tower's very low.
This is a walk in and take it. If I'm Cryptik, I take this fight under the tower. That's where they're going to go. Over the top comes the solo lead. Osiris, and Diesel will fall off up top. Kyrmi, the culprit. 2 players surrounding, but it doesn't matter. Dishonored zoning out 3 while Osath takes care of the only other member of the team. Cryptik on the run. 1 will back in the jungle. 2 will be pulled. 1 will go down, and the other will suffer the same fate. Bad luck 13, but it's all good luck for Exilium. Tier 2 tower going down just like that. And Team Exilium taking a bite out of the middle lane.
I'm not sure what Cryptik were expecting once they used
Tully.
2 ults. They're actually
Tully.
going to go for it in a 5-on-1, but a nice Quadra taunt to delay it.
That said, the Aegis is good, buys him a moment. 9 seconds till Diesel gets here, but he's the only one. Everyone else is 20. Tully, we're going to a game 3 nice and easy. That's Exilium.
A great play from Exilium, punishing Cryptik from overextending under that tier 1 tower, not once, but twice.
Diesel shows up, gets a double kill, so he's even 5-5-0. No negative slash line for him whatsoever, right, boys? But really, this is Exilium kind of, I mean, they wrote a thesis and they showed it to us in game number 1. They just failed to defend it. Game number 2, they were like, hey, here's what we do. We counterpunch real good. And they defended the thesis here in game 2. They got to do it again for game 3. But now, cut down the middle. Interesting setup.
The way they started around the blue buff was also pretty solid, I think, trying to make action happen on that right side of the map. We don't see that very often in the solo lane, but once it does, you can feel the swinging of the effects there. The rotations here coming through from the King Arthur versus the Osiris as well, rotating towards the Gold Furies, Exilium. They lost that first Gold Fury, but getting it the second time was a very important factor. And then punishing out the tier 1 mid tower attempts. Cryptik trying to go for that second one was really their downfall because they had to use 2 ultimates, the 9 turns Blessing and Defender of Olympus, just to keep their Erlang Shen alive, and then they still kept going for this 1% tower.
Jungle Athena, a little bit rough there, didn't come through in the clutch like I wanted it to. Somewhere, Lazarus is turning over in a Smite grave. Not this time, buddy. Again, tied up 1-1. We'll get down to game number 3 after this.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the SMITE Minor League.
Welcome back to the analyst desk. Aggro joined by Taco as we're ready for game 3 after an impressive victory here for Exilium.
And I think the big turnaround for me, at least, was just having the switch up of a little bit more of that AoE presence. I think that really managed to shut down some of the more aggressive stances that Cryptik was looking to take early on.
Kyrmi played so much better on the Susano, was just able to get a lead and really push it very nicely. We were a little bit worried about the Athena jungle. I think those fears were kind of realized. JinguBang just didn't have enough real follow-up there. A couple plays with Diesel in the mid lane, but overall, you just didn't have it in the comp.
I think a big issue as well is that Athena jungle definitely relies on the rest of the team to kind of work together so you can really see that setup come to fruition through your carries, but we never really got a whole lot of that. Oftentimes, JinguBang, even if you got the Defender of Olympus off in time, it was to a team fight where everyone was already such a low HP threshold. There wasn't really a whole lot of opportunity for a turn and burn scenario.
Tough stuff there for Cryptik, but they've got an opportunity now to bounce back and win game 3 and ultimately take this set over Exilium. We'll see what changes they want to make in picks and bans, and we are ready for those now for game number 3. Seems like Horus is the end-all be-all so far. Taco, I mean, Osath played very well on it that game. He was setting up consistently for Bayroneri on the Poseidon. I feel like that's where Cryptik should go if it's open.
And Cryptik already maybe having that Horus in their sights, because you have to remember this was one of their top selection pick choices in game 1. So Isis being taken away, but Exilium automatically recognizing the type of presence that Horus can provide in that early game, because he really does just feel like such a win more support type.
Definitely, I agree. He once he gets a lead, it feels really, really hard to get away from him, and he still deals relevant damage at that point. So Isis set the 2 bans so far from Cryptik. This means that someone's going to have to make an adjustment if they don't want one of these priority gods to go through. The off ban that we've seen the most so far in this set, I believe, has been Ares. We've seen a lot of Ares bans, and it will continue here for Cryptik as they're trying to leave open Zhong-Kui, I imagine. I just don't know if Exilium's going to let that happen.
I think Zhong-Kui would be the immediate go-to here, though, if Exilium were to have left it open. But considering that they were just as smart as we expected them to be, Zhong-Kui not going to make his debut here in Game 3. In fact, Cryptik now going to have to default elsewhere, and Muzen Cobb doesn't really feel like that bad of a backup plan.
No, that's the other god that's been banned very, very consistently so far in this set. And when you make an adjustment, like banning a god like Horus that's been open for the first 2 games, that's leaving something open, and it will be the AMC. But immediately to the Erlang Shen, go Exilium. Did not work out last game for Cryptik, for what it's worth.
I'm actually kind of surprised to see this Erlang not be picked up for Cryptik in that first pick selection, but must have a lot of faith in the pressure that this Muzen Cobb can establish in the early game, and they're going to need it with the likes of an Erlang and Thoth. So much firepower already on Exilium's side of things, but with Erlang having been picked this early on, that does open the doorway for Cryptik to find some excellent responses to kind of prevent a lot of what Erlang likes to do.
Already have the cripple for AMC on demand with that stinger. Exilium really taking Cryptik's comp when Cryptik just lost with it in the last game too. Ravana and King Arthur for Cryptik before the second ban phase. I don't hate the Ravana here, but I'm looking at these first 2 picks of Erlang, Shen, Thoth, and I'm immediately thinking Daji. I mean, Daji has really seen a big resurgence. Her late game is still phenomenal, and you have 2 gods that really can get shut down by that Powwow ultimate. A little bit surprised Cryptik doesn't go that route.
Well, Cryptik might feel a little bit better about having that Ravana of the Daji now that the Geb has been locked in. It is a decent cleanse, but I do still feel like you have a lot of merit in what you were saying there with that Daji aggro, because Powwow is such a strong shutdown tool for that Thoth and Erlang not having the CC immunity. Even with the Geb, Daji can definitely still look to try and punish and basically focus out Geb, since he does feel a little bit lackluster in that earlier phase. But I still like the intention here of a Ravana Mystic Rush to cut through everybody and just immediately jump straight into the backline, but do have to have some concerns just in the sense that if you Mystic Rush that deep, you have to also be concerned about the Erlang and the Geb catching you in the process.
Great peel so far for Exilium, so I agree with you on that. A couple Hunters taken away by Cryptik and Anhur and Chernobog, whereas Exilium focusing more on the magical damage area in Terra and the Morrigan. Ullr locked in here for Exilium. You imagine this is going into the mid lane for Bayroneri to try and shut down some of this early pressure that AMC will likely provide.
What if Cryptik decided to toss this Ravana into some kind of crazy, the Ravana and the Arthur into some kind of crazy flex picks? I could see
Hold on,
King Arthur.
Taco.
Look,
I don't know about I don't know about what you're putting down right now.
look, King Arthur support has some credit, not a lot.
Like
But if Cryptik
losing?
really wanted the Daji, I think that it was a possibility. I mean, these are teams that I could definitely expect to see a little bit more of that unconventional shining through.
Taco, I appreciate you going to bat for my suggestion, but that ship has sailed. It's time to leave the Daji behind.
Look, we can all dream.
Merlin, Sylvanus, still 2 very good picks. AoE, which is something that they lacked a little bit of, at least consistent AoE damage. AMC obviously has the AoE sort of poke. Who you got in this one, Taco? Because I think both drafts have a lot of merit.
Both of these drafts are definitely pretty strong in their own rights, but I feel like Cryptik just has a little bit more solid initiation and disengage. That's another key note here, because Ullr, Thoth, those gods can definitely struggle with the likes of a Ravana and King Arthur, considering how much self-sustain those gods have for Cryptik and kind of just sit on that back line.
Game 3 coming at you. Cryptik versus Exilium. Someone's getting the win right now. Let's find out. Tom and Toli, it's all yours.
In the game of throws, somebody must wind up on top. Will it be the dragons or the torches? We have yet to see, but as we get into game number 3, that tells the tale. Tom and Tolly on the clock, and the ones and twos, the observation, the game, action, the cameraman, the guy doing that.
The
It's
gambler.
Hindu Man.
The gambler. The swindler. The one, the only.
No, the swindler is Jeff Hindler.
You're right.
So
But Hindu swindles the winnings
he's
and the
gambler.
results.
Man, I have tried to make a lot of things stick, and they have stuck. I'm the only idiot that says doubleune, but there's a lot of phrases in terms of use that I've kind of coined in Smite. People have the Hindler swindler, not one that has stuck. Ain't nobody ever called Jeff Hindler the Hindler swindler, and I tried so long. I tried so hard. I was like, look at him steal these objectives. And then they were like, we deleted Hog. And I was like, well, the Hindler swindler.
He still lives in your heart. It's okay.
Listen, sometimes we try to make fetch happen, and it doesn't happen, okay?
Just accept it, Tom. It's not happening.
I'm a mouse. Duh. Diesel picking up his red buff there. Duh. Sibyl, though, the support soloing the red buff. We were talking at length about starts. Sibyl, jump, jump, jump. It's a Van Halen concert in the middle. And JinguBang the one that's going to start it off hot. Kyrmi, not so squirmy. He's going to fall down. 2 hands, 2 kills. JinguBang bang.
Sibyl hitting level 2 as that gank happened gives him enough points to get a heal off, survive the gank, turn it around completely, and the damage in response.
He soloed the red buff.
That's true. Well,
If he doesn't solo red buff, he doesn't hit level 2.
Well, he probably wouldn't have been there because he would have probably either started solo lane or long lane, depending.
So if he didn't solo the red buff, we wouldn't see Team Exilium try to jump on
That's
top
true.
of Team Cryptik, which means he wouldn't have hit level 2, which means he wouldn't have gotten the heal, which means Team Cryptik wouldn't have gotten first blood and then some. So him getting in trouble.
And that's why all those little things added up make Smite or any MOBA such a different game in every single game you play.
The Butterfly Effect, starring Ashton Kutcher. Remember when he tried to be a serious actor? Wow, we have mentioned 2 Ashton Kutcher movies haphazardly. Dude, Where's My Car earlier today.
Oh, boy.
And, Dude, Where's My Crabs?
Yeah, where are the crabs at? That's what I want to know.
Hindu Man has said forever. Forever. He's like, because once upon a time, I think season 2 or so, for those of you who remember Adonis in the booth, Osath going to be pulled back as I get pulled back into the game. We had to do some production work, and he was like, look, if they ever put me back in production, I'm going to show you the crabs. That was more Scottish than British, but you get it. JinguBang looking for seconds here, and Bayro will walk away for the minute. Copebby and Dishonored on the right-hand side in a old-fashioned Cucullin King Arthur matchup.
Trying to look for the red buff in vain. Will reset it for a little bit. Looks like Bayroneri will last hit it, though, with that belated arrow.
All Ullr, no fooler, man. He's been on top. I'm talking about the character, not the player. Usually I talk about the player first, but the character Ullr has done such work today. We saw it in the hands of... Was it DayToRemeber that stole with the 3-1 combo? We saw objective steals with it. We've seen kill snipes over walls.
I think it was
today.
Death Panther.
That's who it was, Death Panther. But truth be told, the Ullr has been front and center today. Very, very interesting.
Dardus showed him off
Yeah.
in the SPL in week number 4, where he played, or Paul and Dardus showing him off in week number 4 of the SPL. Against, both of them were against LG, if I remember correctly.
Quick, can we see wards placed right now?
He's just spamming all the buttons. One of these will do.
Gotcha. Listen. Listen. Rare is it that your head honcho is kind of at your beck and call, so I am going to milk this.
Oh, yeah. You're going to ask for all the graphs.
Can I see experience per minute right now? I need it for my analysis. Oh, there's Medusa.
Look at the statue. It's kind of cute. There we go. We got there.
the fun parts of the match for sure. I didn't know that Medusa statue was there. There's a lot of detail on this map, to be sure. Talk to me a little bit about this solo lane. I have said in loose conversation, not for like a, you know, detailed PhD thesis, but in loose conversation, Chulainn and King Arthur are kind of like cousins. They occupy a similar space where they want to be in the middle of everything, hit multiple people. Chulainn doesn't get the healing that Copebby does, but it feels like maybe he should.
It's a funny matchup because as much as Cope wants to poke out Dishonored, Dishonored wants to get poked out so he can get the rage to transform. Now, Dishonored's damage really comes in the rage form to get extra physical power and being able to hit harder with his abilities on top of it. But Cope, all he needs to do is poke Dishonored before the rage comes out, and then once the transformation it does, just reset and look back at more. Once level 9, 10, 11 comes around and we're seeing more levels from Cope, his poke is going to be too much for the sustain from Dishonored to handle, even through Glad Shield.
And so how about when it transitions into the mid-game or the later game? Are they both looking to do the same thing, largely just zone, or do they have different roles?
Pretty much. You're harassing the backline in different ways. Dishonored can chase you down with Event Angered, hard to get away from. Copebby is spamming all the time, and the more people he hits, the more damage mitigation he gets from the passive. So, in theory, they're doing the same thing, just in slightly different ways.
Very cool to see Dishonored pick up the Chulainn with the old E-United skin. Of course, that comes thanks to winning the World Championship. We just unveiled our latest World Championship skin as well. Splice nailing the Jormungandr. So another solo lane god for sure. Although if you ask Zeros, it's a mid lane god.
It's a fun god.
It's a lot of fun. And if I got to choose a skin for my team, Norm's the biggest one. So yeah, giant Splice.
Dishonored tried to use his barbed spear for nothing, so that way he would get out of the transformation form, but he mistimed it slightly and he still transformed. Little slight nuance.
That's the fun stuff. You know, you talk about the micro. Uh-oh. Diesel getting aggressed on here. Macro aggression as Sibyl finds a knockup. Good stuff. Stinger on to the healed up Erlang Shen, who has to walk away. JinguBang shows up, and now it's a 5-on-1, and Osath, we knew ya. 0-1-0 for the immobile Geb, and it's 3-0. Well, that's it. It's just 3-0.
That's twice now that Exilium tried to go onto this Sibyl, and it just could not make it work out. It's looking really bad for their offensive measures. They need to figure out a way that if they do fully commit onto the Sylvanus, that they're guaranteed getting the kill. And without DayToRemeber, it just doesn't seem they have that burst damage. But then again, Bayroneri, once he does get Transcendence and maybe level 10, 11, that could be when the burst damage comes through. So if I'm Sibyl, I'm thinking about that, and I'm going to rush some physical defense.
I said this last game about something similar. I think it was JinguBang's performance on the Athena, where the choice to jump on Sibyl is the correct choice right now. It's a level 4, level 5 Sylvanus without itemization online just yet. I think both the first jump and the second jump were the correct choice from Exilium to isolate that Sylvanus. Cryptik, the mistake that Exilium made, which is sort of commentator bias.
Sure.
They didn't have the information that the entirety of Cryptik was making the rotation already.
Well, even if Ravana wasn't there, we saw the damage that came through from just Sibyl and Diesel.
Still, I think without the Ravana, maybe they get away. Maybe they just get away without dying.
Yeah, they definitely get away without dying.
But turning it around, like for Exilium, I can't fault them too much.
Sure.
Maybe the secondary term you should learn by now, but again, killing a Sylvanus at level 4, that's as old as side jungles.
It just depends on what you have. Like, how much crowd control do you have? Like, looking at how Kyrmi engaged that with the follow-up from Bayroneri and Osath, like, Osath didn't use his Geb ultimate, right? Like, he was saving that later on.
Waiting.
Maybe if he used Cataclysm to start it off, or, like, at least after Kyrmi uses all his CC, then they could get the kill. But instead, he holds on to it. He couldn't even get out of the action once he got turned around. So that could be something that they do for next time.
Sure.
Start lead with the Cataclysm. Also wait maybe for Bayroneri to finish off Transcendence, get extra physical power, more levels.
Good old Bobo running around.
Because normally when we see people, oh, hold that thought though, in mid lane, Sibyl engages, gets off a nice double ultimate off.
There's the ult from Osath, although largely defensive this time around. Diesel drops the stinger, and that be that. Exilium now trying to mend their wounds. Team Cryptik have an opening for gold, believe it or not. I would like to see this be the play, because they have information that DayToRemeber is the only one here, but they're afraid of that Thoth. Realistically, if I'm coaching right now and I'm in comms trying to break the rules, because coaches aren't allowed to be in comms, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm shot calling for Cryptik, I say go for gold and kill Day when he gets there. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, bait them out.
Yeah, exactly. But Cryptik playing a little bit safe. I respect that, sure. But a tie game we remain.
DayToRemeber still picking up his purple buff on that left side. Very difficult to steal against a Thoth, whether it's Gold Fury or even the smaller objectives, Final Judgment or otherwise.
Dishonored, the proxy farm, the oldest book in the oldest play in the Cuchulainn book for sure. Ping's coming out. DayToRemeber, not as lonely as it might seem. You can see all his friends hanging out there in the wings, ready to provide some health at a moment's notice. The ward vision from Exilium, very, very strong here on the left side of the map, catching Cryptik everywhere.
I like this pickup from Sibyl, picking up the Lotus Crown, and he's going to need it to save Diesel's life. Actually, he just walks away under the tower anyway, fearful of the pull.
Jump for jump, Bayro on the run, and that be that. JinguBang not going to be able to follow it up. Diesel stays alive, will back to base though, and head back to lane, but kind of on his own terms.
Through
Not
the
too
use
big of a deal.
through the use of the beads and his ultimate, able to just narrowly avoid danger. Bayroneri forced to use his beads earlier on as well. And all said and done, both of these mid laners are now exposed for the moment. And I'm actually more worried for Bayroneri as an Ullr player.
No CC immune ultimate.
No CC immune ultimate.
Diesel can wiggle his way out. A ton of movement speed thanks to the hives, can slow players down. Bayro, unlikely to have a lot of tools at his disposal to do just that.
And this is where Cope is going to start to have a slight advantage in the laning phase. But then again, level 12 Cuchulainn, he can just clear and just go wherever he wants afterwards. He doesn't have to stay in the lane to get poked out by Cope. There's lots of back camps to get. Because of how much action there is on the left side of the map, both back right camps should be up for either solo laner to take.
But at least when the wave comes, you're demanded to fight. Neither of the solo laners are you know, shock style, where it's just axe slurp, you know, just chilling in the back. You've got to actually fight up there and do it. So with that in mind, it's going to keep Cuchulainn in a little bit of trouble here, as Dishonored is looking for the invade. But just looking. He window shopped.
Yeah, he blinked away. He was very fearful that they were about to 3-on-1 collapse onto him. And if I'm a level 13 Cuchulainn, I'm not super worried. I like the positioning of his wards that because he was out of position from dropping those wards.
MandoWarrior here gets the blink forward. Trouble. The shotgun blast avoided. And the not a flamethrower brought to you. And MandoWarrior will catch that check. 4 kills in total. 2 of them belonging to the former solo laner over there.
Yeah, even if DayToRemeber hits that ultimate, it was not long enough to even be a real threat to MandoWarrior. I like the zoning flames, the dragon flames coming through, so that way DayToRemeber couldn't come closer to his tier 1 tower. He was only left to go south. Very easy to confirm the remainder of those hits.
MandoWarrior. I like this story arc, actually. Team Cryptik looking for the Gold Fury. Merlin burns it down. Merlin AMC, that's about as fast as you can get here, folks. And the Gold Fury goes the way of Team Cryptik. Nice and safe. 2,000 gold, or just about 1967. That's the GTO judge, baby. Baby pushing up forward. Osath in trouble. Backside help from Team Cryptik. Over the wall comes shots from a distance, and it's good enough. Damage will not bring anybody down, but Exilium ready to resurge. Remember, looking to surge forward and keep players at bay, and Cope just push it up. Everybody doing their job, but now Exilium looking for the fight back. Dishonored shoves Sibyl against the wall, and DayToRemeber launches one, just carrying a llama.
Man, both of these supporters can't catch a break. First it was Osath getting focused to start the fight, and then it was Sibyl getting focused to end it. And now the tier 1 tower from Cryptik, the one to be looked at. Unless Cope can stop it, MandoWarrior here and fully healthy, has both relics to play defensively, but not going to press forward any longer.
A little bit ouch there, but Exilium do get a kill. And I am a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that that kill matters, that kill means something. Maybe that's just, I don't know. It is to go scoreless for a long time and just get that one kill. That, we talk a lot about the mental aspect of the game. Making that 0-1, I think, is one of the bigger mental things in the game.
You say that, and then I think back to Season 2 Fnatic versus Ullr for that last spot at Worlds, where they were
Of course you would.
0 kills. Well, I wasn't a part of that team.
No, that's more a mention of Anatoly with the robotic memory.
Oh. So, yeah, it was like single digits, less than 2 or 3 kills for Fnatic.
At what time in the game?
30 minutes, probably.
Oh, my God.
And they were just farming. Reals had 13 damage.
Reus, it's me, Marcus Reus.
As Rom, or I want to say it was as, yeah, it was as Rom.
Oh, my God.
He like hit an astral arrow off of a tank or something like that. It was really weird.
Dishonored here, surrounded by 3. You mentioned Chulainn doesn't be afraid of anything. And that's pretty much what we see right there. JinguBang jumping on top of Kyrmi. Turtles away. JinguBang thinks about it, comes back, thinks about it, comes back. One more time, Dishonored surrounded. This time Cryptik have the rotation. 4-man knockup for Exilium solo. And Osath will give himself up. 2 kills for Cryptik as Jingu chases to the left, Cope chases to the right. And DayToRemeber chases the left side all night long. Down tier 1 tower goes. But as quickly as the gold fell, the fire will fall as well. Cryptik 5 men strong, looking with the fire giant. Dishonored's here. Cope is up front and center, but Dishonored from around the backside. 1 HP is the Titan, and Cryptik are able to confirm it.
They need the kills, Tom. They need to find Dishonored and punish him for trying to steal it, because they cannot save their tier 2 tower. They need to get some objectives after this fire giant.
So when you see an objective given up for a tier 1 tower, it's sort of like a, oh, pobrecito, like, oh, what a little baby,
Sure.
no big deal. When you give up the objective for a tier 2, that's something you actually feel. 1,500 gold is a big jump. It's a big stop momentum-wise as far as your map control is concerned. Without that tier 2 tower, this becomes a much different story. DayToRemeber and Exilium are down 4,000 gold, but because we see the split push, it's only 2,500.
So even though the tier 2 tower was taken, I'm not super worried if I'm Cryptik, because I'm just now going to push out the left side to counteract that tier 2 tower. I'm going to make sure that there's no split push shenanigans as a result.
Well, it's less about Exilium kind of making Cryptik be afraid of that situation, go, hey, this is where we can make our push, and more about softening the blow. In no way is Exilium ever going to come out of that on top. But it's just a matter of how far underwater were you shoved.
Gotcha.
Was this your little brother kind of just pushing you down, or is this your sister's boyfriend keeping you under the water for a minute, right?
What kind of childhood did you have growing up? I'm sorry, Tom.
Listen, man, New York public pools, that's how it works. I don't have a sister for what it's worth. I'm just coming off the cuff here. Come on. 7-1. Team Cryptik leading the charge. Maybe I was the boyfriend. Exilium here on defense. And the tier 2 will crumble. No, it won't. They ran out of minions, and so they're waiting for a recharge.
They got plenty of time. 2 more minutes on this fire giant buff, but look how Osath is positioning. I think the last time with the Geb Cataclysm where he hit 4 members was a nice way to start the fight, but if they had follow-up from DayToRemeber, it would have been so much cleaner. And I think that's what Cryptik are expecting again, so they're respecting that potential. And giving time now even for Cope to at least get something in middle until he reunites with the rest of his squad.
18.5. 8 kills, 7 of them Team Cryptiks. I'll clear my throat. They'll clear the left side lane, as Toli said, just to counteract what Thoth guy did there.
About 87.5% of all the kills are going to Cryptik right now.
Primal Fury going to Cryptik as well. 87.5%.
Yep, it's half of 25%. 12.5 minus 100 is 87.5.
19 minutes in, 8 kills. How many kills per minute, Anatoly?
8 over 19. Hold that thought, though, in mid lane, a little bit of action. DayToRemeber gets taken out.
Saved by the Sylvanus just once. Diesel capitalizes off of the initiation. Dishonored, he says death before it. And the tier 1 will fall down. Exilium retreats. But that's clean sweep left side, clean sweep mid lane. The jungle clear, Fire Giant in tow for another 40 seconds. Cryptik could probably just hard tank that tier 2 tower. Instead, going to play it extremely safe. This is going to be the Pyromancer into a back. Don't forget, they have 25, it's my turn to do math. About 5,000 gold. That was pretty tough, right? 5,000 gold in their pocket unspent. Now they get to spend that. And that 9,000 gold lead is tangible because they say, hey, look at my shifter shield. Nice play.
Spending a lot, actually. Still need 4 more stacks for Sibyl to finish off that Gauntlet of Thebes. Or, sorry, 1 more stack now. Before he gets the Aura, the 10 physical prots, and the 10 magical.
Pop, look at that. Pridwin just...
So much gold in here.
What if I could just buy a Pridwin?
You would buy it.
Thanks, Tully. Sylvanus doing just that. I have a rule on my stream. If I back with 3,000 gold, I'll just buy a Deathbringer.
It's a good rule.
Just buy a Deathbringer. Just buy a Pridwin.
Just buy Rod and Tahuti. Second item. Why not?
Now, I have been stuck on that rule with Deathbringer Chalk. That's happened.
There are worse things. Chalk's third hit. If you can crit on that third hit.
Aggro on the... Well, oh, man. Aggro is a great clip where he crits somebody for like 2,000 with the Chalk third hit.
I can see it happening.
Cryptik right now, critting this third game for sure. Totally literally doing the animation
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
like
booth.
thinking about how it worked out.
Cryptik barking down the tier 2 tower. And Exilium playing defense. Copebby lurching forward. Diesel taking the tower. That can't be by design. Sibyl blinks forward, looking for the initiation. There's the knockup. There's the frenzy. Shot from a distance. Won't have a mark. But Dishonored zoning out Diesel. That's a good look. A bad look is JinguBang pushing down Osath and the tier 2 tower falling for Team Exilium. 21:40 on the clock, and Team Cryptik want to turn it all the way up. But Dishonored just won't let them. I have loved the performance out of this Chulainn. It seems like Team Exilium have really only had one stoke in the fire the whole time, and it's been the Chulainn.
Oh, the pull coming through from Sibyl. Dishonor now biting off more than he could chew. He gets rooted again. The chase down from MandoWarrior. Couldn't find the pull for the secondary chase, but this Fire Giant at 22 minutes should be clean.
Hey Siri, what's Caster's curse? Sorry, Dishonored. That one comes just as I compliment his work. Exilium gonna look for the Fire Giant, but a little bit too late. And that might be an issue. Sibyl and MandoWarrior take down DayToRemeber as they just look at the Fire Giant. Exilium running away, Dishonored by himself. Pulled in, pushed down. Diesel 2-0-9 for the B-Man. And Copebby making a beeline for the mid lane.
What is he going to do now? None of the Phoenixes have been touched yet, but no more towers remain between Cryptik and the Phoenixes out of Exilium. DayToRemeber was in no man's land without that final judgment. Not sure what he was doing. You got to be patient as a backliner and let your frontliners do the work for you.
It was a little bit of hesitation. I'll break it down in a moment because Cryptik are breaking down the base. With the death of Kyrmi, I think it's all but secured. The Titan, just a motion to be gone through. And Cryptik will do just that. Exilium doing what they can, but the damage from the Order team, too much. Cryptik takes the game and takes the set.
23 minutes of play, very cleanly. I love the way they were able to use Sibyl Sylvanus, kind of like a baiting tactic, unintentionally. It was just that way where it started red buff into the 3-man gank in mid lane, survives that one, survives another gank about 8 minutes later down the road, and that's when we're seeing Cryptik still kind of manage to get the advantage.
You know, there's kind of a moment there where you see the entirety of Exilium walk up to the Fire Giant, stop, and then that's where they get in trouble. I say it a lot, that hesitation leads to devastation, but if we take the rhyme out of it, at the end of the day, hesitation can be important. Sometimes you need that time to make a decision, and that's what we call that wisdom. But when you make the wrong choice and you hesitate there and it all kind of crumbles, that's what we just call being afraid. And I think if the team was a little bit more if they had a little bit more stick-to-itiveness, whether the call was to jump on Fire Giant, which I think would have been the bad call, or play defense, make the call. I think the absence of the decision to just stick to one was one of the bigger deals for Exilium, and big picture, one of the bigger deals in this set.
And I'm also looking at the play earlier on where MandoWarrior, where DayToRemeber was still on the left side split pushing as a Thoth, while the rest of Cryptik was still on the right side forcing team fights. You have to be so far disengaged from the team that's looking to team fight because they have the numbers advantage.
Sure.
There's no reason for you to be up there, but they didn't respect that. Now, granted, we did see a tier 2 tower, which was nice, but as a Thoth anyway, you would much rather be in a team fight anyway because your damage is coming through your abilities, not your basic attacks on the towers.
Gotta agree with that one. Cryptik are able to take the set 2 European matches down, 2 North American matches down. That wraps up our day, but to put a bow on it, we've got the desk.
Thank you, Tom and Toli. Aggro with Taco here on the analyst desk to break down an impressive Game 3 victory there for Cryptik. I mean, Game 1, they looked very good. Game 2, Exilium really took the reins, but Game 3, it was a no-doubter.
And I think that this was just Cryptik having really eased into the flow of things, at least with their own team synergy, because as Toli mentioned, towards the very end there, Cryptik was just dominating pretty much all of those late game or mid-game team fights, honestly. We didn't really get to see much of the late game.
Yeah, I mean, even in the early stages, Exilium tried to go on Sibyl, Sylvanus in the early game. Wisps give you protections and a heal, and in the early game, that can usually be pretty tough. Sibyl, I thought, played great on the Sylvanus.
I think that Sibyl also had really impeccable timing with a lot of those Wrath of Terrorists and was able to find that consistent CC setup too, because with the protections and healing also comes a little bit of damage factored in as well. And I mean, how many times have you seen it before where support Sylvanuses will actually wind up with a couple of early game kills because of the Wiz? Not to say that that was the case here for Sibyl, but it definitely helps out a lot.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, when you get a fed Sylvanus, you're going to be looking pretty good. And after that victory, Team Cryptik's going to be looking pretty good in the standings. Let's take a look and see where they ended up after their victory over Exilium with their first win in the 5th place position. The big headline of today, though, Hype Unit stays undefeated and trounce Armada 2-0 in 2 not close games.
But now we've got a pretty divided, I think, SML, at least for the North America side of things. 5-4-3-2-1. And I'm sorry, Exilium. 0
at the very bottom there for Exilium. They're still trying to find their footing after joining the SML. Hype Unit, on the other hand, have had no such worries quite yet. Even with a roster change, Pagon out, Gamma in, Hype Unit continue to be they are undisputed the best team in the North American minor league right now.
And I think that it's also a great telling of what kind of talent pool there is available right now in some of that North American rank scene, because a lot of these players really just products of the rank scene.
Mongrels in the rank scene, you know, that's
Mongoloids from time to time.
But they do it, man. They win a lot of games in the minor league and they win a lot of games in ranked. You can't contest that. As for the European side of things, Flashpoint and Simplicity knotted up on top, but Flashpoint with a slight edge due to game plus minus. Exordium yet to find a win. If you want to win games in the minor league, don't start your name with EX. That's what we've learned. Exilium and Exordium struggling so far. I'm just trying to help them out, Taco. Don't give me that look. That's a good. Whoa!
Punching down.
Whoa! I'm sorry. What are you?
No, I'm just messing. But you do have a pretty good point, though. But I don't think that Exordium and Exilium can be completely ruled out just yet. At least off of that last set that we witnessed with Exilium versus Cryptik, it did look as though the team had some really solid components that they could try to work and build off of later on.
No doubt. I mean, clearly Exilium not super far behind a team like Cryptik, though Cryptik's in 5th right now, so maybe not exactly who you want to be compared to overall. It's been a great day here of the minor league, but don't forget that High Res Expo is coming up pretty soon, so make sure you get those tickets as soon as you can. They are on sale right now. HighResExpo.com is the place to go. It'll be nice and easy. Get your tickets, and we'll see you there. And we'll see you tomorrow as we do some patch notes. Taco, there's going to be some new skins released tomorrow that you're going to want to take a look at, so make sure you tune into that right here on Mixer.com/SmiteGame. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow for the patch notes. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.